Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. It's hard to believe that the JonBenet Ramsey murder is still unsolved. I mean, this happened back in Christmas of 1996. I had just graduated high school that year, so I'm kind of going to date myself with that one. But and she would have been 33 years old right now if she would have been here today. It looks like we're finally going to get some more DNA testing, which has been something that's been really, really pushed for, and it's very, very needed because they did not have the technology, these DNA genetic testings, like, the genealogy, 23andMe, and all those things. They did not have that back in 1996. So they're hoping, the investigators are hoping that this new DNA technology, testing the DNA that was found on JonBenet, is gonna help bring, her killer to justice. And as much as for many years, folks have gone through stating it was Patsy, it was John, even Burke, the family has been ruled out. And of course, sadly, Patsy, she passed away from cancer, 10 years after her young daughter. But John is still fighting for his baby, and hopefully this new technology is going to really, really help. So they've got several previously untested pieces of evidence, and it's like I said, it's a very big deal because they were stating, I remember them saying that they had only so much they could be testing, and you remember how the Boulder PD didn't want to release any of this to have it tested because, hey, there's only so much evidence that we have available. But it's been pushed that we want, that John, the family, and there's new investigators on this case that has pushed to get this genetic, DNA tested finally. And a successful familial DNA search could identify the killer or potential relatives of whoever is responsible for killing JonBenet in Christmas of 1996. So hopefully this process is going to help them narrow their focus for the suspect that brutally attacked and killed this beautiful 6-year-old child. And again, the family has gone through so much scrutiny and suspicion through the years. And currently, the current detectives with Boulder PD who are on the case, they believe the DNA will find that it belonged to an intruder. They don't believe anyone related to John, Patsy. They don't believe any of them had anything to do with this. Now, of course, we all know there's big issues with the case because at the time, the crime scene was not very well secured. They had people walking all over the place, all kinds of issues, and they immediately focused on the parents, which, that's going to happen, but they should not have allowed, all these family members and friends to come into that house and basically go all over the house. And they had people in there touching things, and so it was a lot of contamination, and that's something that we can never get back. So again, there's actually a quote from within the Boulder Police Department that has stated, "No one in the Boulder PD expects the familial DNA to be a Ramsey or even a distant relative of that family." So they're expecting it to be someone unrelated completely to the Ramsey family. 27 years at this point, we've been waiting to figure out who killed the beautiful JonBenet, who was found in the basement of their home, like 7 hours after Patsy got up, found that ransom note. They had called the police, the 911 call, you know, and 7 hours later, when the police suggested that they do another search, John goes down to the basement. That's where he finds his daughter strangled. She had a grout around her neck, and then she had a broken skull that they found from a blow to the back of her head. And, as we all know, the autopsy stated her official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation. That handwritten ransom note, many, many years, people speculated it was Patsy, and the amount of the ransom, how it was odd that why is it the exact amount of John's bonus that year? Could it be someone from within John Ramsey's company? You have to wonder, because who would know that exact amount? And then currently the experts are saying that the family should have been cleared long before. I feel really bad for them, and I especially feel bad for Patsy. She went through the last 10 years of her life just being scrutinized, even though in 1998, they finally said that they weren't guilty. But it actually shows that in 1997, in January 15th, 1997, now this is early 1997, so not even a month after JonBenet was killed, authorities had excluded Patsy, John, as well as Burke and other family members from the murder of JonBenet. But that was never gotten out. There were certain members of the investigative team that was so focused on John and Patsy. And like I said, that crime scene was never, properly maintained. It was never tested for DNA. And then you also have the technology of the time was not nearly as good as we have now. So I really do hope that this genetic DNA testing is going to finally give them the persons of interest. And that's what they're saying, not just one. They think they're going to get persons of interest. Now, will some of them be some names that we've heard of throughout the years? Possibly. You never know. But here's a piece. John Ramsey appeared a few days ago on Banfield's show on News Nation.
John Ramsey is with me live now. I've talked to you over the years, for decades, John, and here we are again. I don't know if this is hopeful news. I don't know if it's more than just a report. What are you learning?
Well, the Boulder Police Department went through a fairly major shakeup, I don't know, within the last year. They brought in a new chief of police, a new assistant chief from the outside of the department. Citizens Review Board recommended 5 or 6 of their detectives be terminated. The detective that was responsible for our case for the last 25 years was not terminated, but put on night patrol. So there's a lot of good things happening, we think, in terms of the leadership and basically straightening out of the police department. We had the opportunity to meet with the chief of police and her assistant and the district attorney about, 2 or 3 months ago. And it was a good meeting. It was a long meeting. I was impressed with their professionalism and believe in their commitment to get this solved. So that's encouraging. We still hope, and we don't know if this is being done or not, but we know there's evidence that was taken from the crime scene that was never tested, was sent off for testing, but was never tested for DNA. That should be done. We've asked that be done and be done in the cutting edge labs. We were told that the government doesn't have the latest technology, unfortunately. But there are 1 or 2 cutting edge labs that have the latest technology. That's where this testing ought to be done. I don't know where it's being done. and then use the public genealogy database with whatever information we get to research and basically do a backwards family tree, which has been wildly successful in solving some very old cold cases.
Yes. It really has. I mean, it seems to be par for the course now for all investigations to use genealogy. I'm curious about this report. I mean, I have to be clear that the report came out in a publication called The Messenger, and The Messenger reported that suspects and witnesses can come from a variety of places. This is what the police source told them. It's not just the DNA. It's what happens when you investigate a very difficult case. There are new people to look at, so hopefully figure out who killed JonBenet. You know,
again, I know throughout the years we've all had this hope something would break, but I'm really, really, really hopeful and praying that this is what this case needs. And obviously for John and Burke and the family most of all, but this was one of the first crime cases that I was really into. Again, like I said, I was 18 years old. So this is like a case that I would love to see an answer to, and bring whoever killed this beautiful child to justice.
I'm wondering if I get it if they don't share a lot. They can't screw up an investigation after this long. But do you read anything into that report that they may be further ahead than we have thought?
Well, we're hopeful if that's the case. Yeah, I mean, it's encouraging information if it's accurate and correct. Very encouraging. And yeah, so we're very hopeful. I mean, all these changes that were taking place within the police department were positive, and this may be a result of those changes. So
let's hope.
Yeah, I'm encouraged.
John, I hope you and I are going to meet about the arrest. That's when I hope our next, interview is going to be. And then I hope we talk again at the conviction and all points in between. Thank you, as always.
I really would love to see, I agree with her. I would love to see an arrest and conviction. Like sooner than later. And, as we could tell, John's not getting any younger. I unfortunately, Patsy's not here to be a part of that, but she's been up there with JonBenet, since 2006. So, like I said, fingers crossed, prayers going up. I'm really, really hoping that this is going to give them these persons of interest that they need, get this genetic stuff. We need to use all the latest technology to test any and every little piece that they have left from this case. This has just been too long. She was 6 years old. 27 years later, she should be able to be put to rest and know what happened. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that it's this genetic DNA testing is hopefully going to give us the real answers that we need? Do you think that maybe in the next year, hopefully less, we'll finally have someone in jail for this horrific crime against this child? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button on the way out. It does help the algorithm and get the video out there. And with that said, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.